All right, guys, we just got here and we are here at MMR here in Camarillo. We're gonna go talk to Mark, who is the owner, I'm pretty sure. Pick up this engine.
We build engines and suspension components. 95% of our products are all built in-house. Wow. So we do everything here. We sub out very little. Most of the stuff that we sub out is things like platings, heat treating, and things like that we just simply are not interested in doing. We run 6 machines pretty much full time. Like I said, it's rare when they aren't working, which is a good thing because you don't need a $100,000 machine not doing anything. So we source all of our material, locally. Most of it is from California. I'll show you around. This one is building, these are camshaft phaser limiters for the Coyote. This is basically the adjustable cam gear, just locks the camshaft out. You can see they start out as a chunk of aluminum and end up basically like that. And I'll show you what the finished product looks like after they're completely done, red anodized and all that. It's pretty cool. So that machine is actually in the middle of being torn down. It just finished building billet oil pans for the Coyote.
Wait, but for the regular Coyote, not... dry sump, which you could use in your car if you wanted to, which is actually kind of in some ways helpful, but you know how it is. Room is tight in those things. Exactly.
So we do most of our designing down here in those computers. This is our dyno room where we'll test all of our stuff. Right now, this is the time attack engine that's going in my brand new car for basically supposed to be done in the middle of this season. Coyote, twin turbo. We've made probably 10 to 12 dyno pulls on it so far, just trying to figure everything out. A lot of people ask why the tubing is like this. We're doing that to simulate the length of the actual tube in the car. Because the turbos are actually rear mounted. They're actually just behind the driver.
Wow.
And passenger. Intercooler, that is the actual intercooler that will go in the car. That actually sits in the passenger seat. So and you can see the manifold is turned backwards. That goes through the firewalls. Yeah, this is a pretty serious deal. We're looking to go out and be really competitive in GT class, the NASA time trial GT class, and then global time attack.
Nice.
So in the unlimited class. So we
really
want to go out there and try and clean up with this thing. It's already made well over 4 figures. It's already made well over 1,000 horsepower on those couple of pulls. It's gonna be pretty stout. It's got all of our parts on it, as you can see, are actually an intake manifold that we build and sell right here in-house. Kind of doing some new things where we're mixing billet and composite together. So that's actually a composite runner that we CNC. So it's not like a casting, we actually CNC the composite material. And the cool thing is it gives you tons of heat protection from the engine. So we're not transferring any heat from the motor up into the plenum, which heats up the air, which that's been actually worth a lot. We've been developing that, and it's worth a lot of horsepower, believe it or not. We can make a full dyno run, and afterwards you could put your hand on this thing and it will still be almost room temperature.
Wow,
so and you could put your hand here and burn yourself, basically. We've run pretty much every dyno, every Coyote engine you can imagine. Single turbo, naturally aspirated, twin turbos. Dyno will handle up to about 4,000 horsepower, so we can pretty much test everything that you could
Plenty.
imagine. Yeah.
This is gonna be gnarly. So when are you thinking that this is gonna go?
It is basically done, but we're figuring out all of our final tuning because we need to have some setups so that we can do some basically push to pass on the steering wheel where it'll basically give us some extra boost. So that is the final tuning that we need to basically do that we just haven't had time to do. And the car isn't ready for the engine yet, so we just left it on the dyno while we work on it. Transmission is due here really soon. It's paired up with another paddle shifted sequential. So
what trans are you going with?
Well, it's a great question. We've been working with Hollinger mainly, but we also just started working with 6XD, which is based in North Carolina. Both companies are great. This is going to be really fun. Really excited to get this one done and get the new car finished.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, he's definitely... No.
Good girl.
That is going to be massive. How much does all this weigh?
As you see it right there, that's probably about 450 pounds. It's not much, it's not much more than a factory engine. The manifold's a touch heavier than factory. The turbo is probably at about, turbo and intercooler setup is probably about 60 to 70 pounds. Obviously, this has got a dry sump on it, which it'll have the dry sump in the car also. This one's run on E85 fuel. This is where we do all of our carbon fiber two-dimensional stuff, so we cut all kinds of stuff out of this. We keep solid carbon fiber plates in stock right there, stacked up against the wall. We'll do like all the splitters and all that. We just did a cool splitter project with Eric Habernell, who runs the White Mustang with Speed Ventures and MDCs. We just did a full splitter job for his deal. So this is basically a gigantic CNC machine. We can do up to a 4x10 sheet, basically cut out pretty much anything that we need.
Pretty cool.
End plates, wing end plates, all that good stuff. Anything that's flat. We can even do multi-dimensional. The head can go up and down, so we can kind of carve, multi-dimensional parts, but you wouldn't tend to do that with carbon sheet, unless you're pocketing it for weight. So.
Right. Well,
that's cool.
This front end is here for a new project. I'm not going to say what it is because it's kind of industry groundbreaking, so I'll just leave it at that. We needed the front end off of it so that we can do that. Something very cool in the works that you'll probably see released here within the next, I don't know, maybe 2 months if all goes well. This is going to be a cool deal for S550s and S650s. That machine right now is building our intake manifold runners, which are the same as these. Right now we're doing the run of aluminum version. We do them in aluminum and the composite. The aluminum version is really needed for high boost, whereas the composite, you can get away with low boost. Because of the wall thickness, anything above like 30, 40 pounds, you really got to go with aluminum. To put things in perspective, our Pro Mod NHRA stuff runs about 72 pounds of boost. So
I forget that you guys do.
That's our main, our main forte.
Okay.
And those motors will make about 4,000 horsepower at 72 pounds. So yeah, they're pretty stout. Yeah, we build, again, all that stuff is in-house. That's what this one is actually carving out right now. A lot of work.
I totally forgot that there's a whole side of that.
Yeah, a whole other side that we do, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. We do them in multiple injectors, up to 2 injectors per cylinder. We can fuel up to probably 5,000 horsepower worth of fuel is what can be run through those manifolds. Yeah, pretty stout.
I got my like baby 500 horsepower.
Exactly. This is where we build our billet oil pump gears for all of the mod engines. There's one there, for example. Basically, we cut that out of those billet chunks right there. Once they're done here, they'll go through QC and then we'll laser them. We have our own laser machine where we do all of our etching for that. So they'll get serial numbered or date coded. So that's what that's making. It's actually does them at about 2 at a time. Unfortunately, you can't really see it because the light is not in there.
There's a lot going on here.
But yeah, always.
24/7.
We have our end links for the Coyote, or for basically all the Mustangs. That's a finished product, basically how they're kind of coming out there, and that's how they start. And that's a rear end links. Just allows you to adjust them. A little nicer quality joint here, so they're nice and quiet and strong, so they don't break. So that's what that one's making. Over here, this is the new splitter. So you'll actually be one who knows before the time you leave. This is how the splitter rod comes down and attaches. This is what's going in here. It's actually a new design that we're doing, something a little bit more aero and sculpted compared to our previous design.
I had no idea you guys made stuff for that too.
Oh yeah. We got into the aero stuff probably 2 or 3 years ago, as far as parts like the splitters and things like that. So
I remember.
so now we do all of that stuff too. Yeah. So,
I think I remember during that time, still at the shop.
Right. Yeah, okay. And then up here we got basically our warehouse. There's a million parts that we make that you haven't even seen yet.
I was trying to go through your website, and I'm like, dude,
it's crazy.
I have
a lot
a feeling that it's a lot more than I actually can fathom.
Chain guides. This is a finished product after it's come back from anodized. These are all machined right here in house. That's probably for a that's for a 4.6 liter earlier style engine. We make those for everything, for all of the Ford overhead cam engines. So basically all the way back to 1996, whether it be the 2-valve, the 3-valve, the 4-valve, Coyote. We build all those in-house, keep them in stock. Tensioners, these are the actual hydraulic tensioners that go inside of those earlier 4.6 engines. Again, built in-house, basically everything done here. More of the same, kind of all the guides for all the different engines that we do. These are like for the GT500s, the earlier style GT500, 5.4, 5.8 liters. All the replacement parts, as you can imagine. Lots of smaller things. We do a lot of tools. These are top dead center tools for setting top dead center on like a Coyote when you're degreeing the engine. Oil balance lines, fuel pressure, sensor adapters, you name it, we make it. Fuel rails for the Coyote, for the 4.6, again, all made in-house, lasered in-house. Yeah, pretty cool. We make those for all the engines. On the other side here, more goodies, pretty much, again, more of the same kind of stuff. We keep all of the valve train stuff in stock, like the guides, seals, and all that. This is all for the Coyote, some more Coyote parts. These are the billet rear main seal plates that we make for the Coyote.
Ooh, those are nice.
These are all the Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3 engines that we offer. That replaces the real thin factory casting, a little bit stronger and kind of nicer features. So we do the trigger wheels for them. On the back of the Coyote engine, there is a trigger wheel.
Yeah.
They're actually, from the factory, they're made out of stamped steel. So we make kind of a nice high precision version out of billet steel. Has a nicer, cleaner trigger signal. Lots of advantages. Usually we will only build something if we feel like we can improve on. Kind of same kind of stuff again behind you. We even do stuff like battery boxes and battery kits to put a lithium battery inside of inside of like an S550 or an S650. Complete kit to put a micro battery and save a bunch of weight.
I feel like I'm gonna have to make a couple trips back over here.
And then of course we sell a lot of the standard stuff, all of the ARP bolts and things like that people need to bolt their engines together if they're gonna do it themselves. Sprockets, we do all the sprockets for the Coyote engines, all made out of billet steel. We send those out for heat treating. Like that's one of the parts that we don't finish in-house, but they're built in-house. And then in here is our engine building room. It's our shipping area.
Yeah.
That's Aiden. She does some of our packaging and shipping. Right now, not a ton going on in here. A couple of projects. We just finished this one up. This is a road race deal that's going in. One of our good customers' engines. One of our billet Gen X drag engines in for a rebuild from one of our good customers. That's a full billet block. Unfortunately, the customer's dry sump belt came off and she's fine and ruined the
ruin the engine or at least ruin the bearings. So we're gonna have to do a pretty heavy rebuild on that one. But
Wow, so you do it all here.
This block belongs to your friend Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually working on that one right now, getting ready to put that one together and do final assembly. Yeah.
Finally, about time.
Yeah, right, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Right.
I knew you did a couple things here and there, but I didn't. I know you do a lot of SY50 and X650 stuff, but do you do a lot of the Fox swap?
So we have a ton of customers that do Fox Coyote swaps and things like that. In fact, both Taylor in sales and my brother Justin have both done.
Yeah, I'm going to be stopping by and talking about them too.
So yeah, it's very common.
And so in terms of your, like for aero and stuff, because that's something I haven't even looked into yet.
Yeah, that's something where, we can definitely build some cool custom stuff. If we get the layout of, or just have the front bumper, we can kind of start setting up an air dam and build it from there. So,
okay, cool. So that's actually
we got
good
lots
to know
of options.
for that, because that was one of the pieces of the puzzle that I haven't figured out yet. So
simple air dam with a big splitter on it, that'll do the trick.
Yeah.
And then we can incorporate some tunnels if we want, depending on how much you want to spend, right?
Do you send out for wings?
Yeah, we still send out for wings. I work with Brad at Spinnaker, and we also work with AJ Hartman, and then I also work with Sydney Composites in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who builds some insanely nice stuff, which you'll see some of that on the brand new Time Attack car.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is really, really trick stuff. So yeah, coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I need to wrap my head around this one.
Why don't we take a look at your engine?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's your engine right there that Taylor is leaning on.
Back at the track, like that was one thing I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it, and you were like, "Yeah, crate. Why don't you go crate?" And I'm like,
I mean, we build them all day long, but we also sell a lot of this stuff. So
because originally when we were talking, we were thinking about the GT350. I think what we ended up on, and I don't have a whole lot of information on it because there's not a lot of people out there with it. The placement in terms of like shift replacement and things like that was just not going to probably work.
And we started talking about that. We started realizing that because of the linkage on those, it probably wouldn't. T56 you could do, which I think, which is what you've chosen now, basically, or what you're going to do, right?
Yeah. I was just looking at in terms of like the GT350 stuff, kind of the newer and kind of the benefits from it. I was like, ooh, that might be something if we can figure that out.
Yeah, but the T56 is pretty nice also. A GT350 Trans really is just kind of a current modern day T56. So if you wanted to go standalone and tune the thing yourself, it's about the same cost to do a standalone versus a control pack. The only cool thing about the control pack is you're ready to go right out of the bat. Like literally bolt it on, fire it up, go to the track, which is, there's a lot to be said for that. A lot of time saved, a lot of money saved. So in the long run. Thank you. I'm excited to see it run. So it's going to be a cool project.
Me too, I know. It makes no logical sense because I'm building an SY50, but
half of the stuff we do
it's not logical. Exactly. All right, well, thank you guys so much. All right. Dude, I can't believe that. This thing was literally almost as much as a car. Like old car problems, I guess. That's a big ass box. Now we go home and we figure out all the pieces that have to go back together in my 100,000 calls to MMR. But we have our long block. Now we got to piece it together and put all the bits and figure out all the cool stuff and the headaches that's about to go on. So take this home and unload it and get to working. You excited? Let's go back home. Let's go home.